Triple support has been meta for most of the game's lifespan, and it's specifically shown to pop up when triple DPS is too oppressive on a game-to-game basis. The direct counter to this strategy is triple tank, or characters who have nuke damage, aka a lot of damage in a short amount of time without much effort. When people say support buffs are ruining the game, they mean games are dragging out too long and becoming boring because no one's dying. But that's still way too simple and doesn't get at the real problems in the current triple support meta. I say current deliberately because we've had like 15 of these. This strategy is like a hydra. It'll keep coming back, and the only way to put it down for good, both in-game and through balancing, is to obliterate supports. But you can't do that unless you want the game to be completely rebalanced as a consequence. That's a pretty big task, so I'm not even going to bother acting like I have a better solution beyond healing penalties. Quick answer is truly just make the third support pick heal less as a penalty. It won't affect utility, it won't reduce character variety or player expression, and it might promote smarter choices for team compositions rather than just slapping 3 main healers on every team and effectively becoming immortal. And before I move over to the next part of this, I'd like to talk about the hero shooter genre and how support is handled from game to game. Overwatch historically had its fair share of game-breaking support designs. Those have since been reworked and much less grindy, for lack of a better term. Heroes like Mercy, Kiriko, Brigitte have had their own entire metas and pain points in the game's history, prevalent enough to force the devs to rework or alter how the game is interacted with and played. Role queue only exists because of Brigitte and Goat's meta, and it wasn't truly a good solution to the overwhelming presence in competitive play. Is your team losing? Play Goats. Is the enemy team playing Goats? Play Goats. Have you locked into character select? Play Goats. You starting to see some similarities? Metas are mostly remembered when they're god-awful to go against or boring and repetitive to watch. Unfortunately, this is the life cycle of most video games, especially with competitive scenes. When people talk about nerfing supports, they truly mean Invisible Woman and Gambit. Yeah, triple support is a problem, but like I say, you can adjust to it and find a proper counter. That's the nature of hero shooters. Whether or not you like it, it's kind of all just rock, paper, scissors. If you pick rock and I pick paper, there's no way that you can just have a bigger rock. Paper just wins. But sometimes there are outliers like overtuned characters. Invisible Woman is an example of this currently, and her balance history reflects the philosophy that I assume the balance team currently has. Invis suffers from some kind of feature bloat. This term is usually used on video games that have too many features that don't mesh well together and kind of feel random or underdeveloped. But I'm going to use it here and remix it a little bit. She suffers from my completely new original term, kit bloat. Yeah, I'm patenting that one. And she's not the only one that suffers from this problem in-game. Characters like Thing, Bucky, and Mr. Fantastic all have it. I would throw Moon Knight in that list too because he's starting to get there. Kit bloat basically means a character's design has currently expanded outside of the original purpose or tool set they were given. Invisible Woman is a control support, a support that excels at creating opportunities and crushing them through displacement abilities and multitasking. It's also part of the reason she's a 4-star character like Loki. She did not hit this game with insane stats or insane healing output. It was actually fairly moderate, and her best trait boiled down to her ultimate. But after receiving multiple number adjustments and buffs, she is in an amazing spot in the current Season 5 meta. Now the problem is that they never removed the newer aspects they added to her kit that boosted her performance in previous seasons where she wasn't considered a top 3 choice. This, combined with the average player's skill and game sense being on the lower end of the spectrum, made for a delayed reaction to her boost in performance and viability. How do we fix this? Just remove something and readjust the numbers. And by something, I mean the shield. Hey, future K-Jack here. Sorry to cut in past K-Jack, but yeah, they already nerfed it. The exact thing that I said they should have nerfed, they already nerfed for Season 6.0. So yeah. The Deadpool trailer is out. That's cool. He looks fun. I'll talk about him in the future. Hopefully I get to it in time, you know? I'm really slow to this stuff. Forgive me. But yeah, back to the video. Now this is just kind of informative and like a game design philosophy video rather than talking about the problem with triple support. They already got to it. The shield serves multiple functions right now that it never served before. Actually, let's run down Invisible Woman's entire kit really quickly. Primary fire that heals allies and damages enemies on contact while also having a boomerang effect that heals and damages on return. A vortex orb that can be placed anywhere within its allowed maximum range that can deal consistent damage, slowly pulls targets in, and disables flying targets' movement upon contact. A 250 HP shield that can be placed on allies in line of sight, slowly heals allies on contact, slows enemies on contact, and also can be placed on herself with very little penalty for spamming the button. A push and pull ability that can displace targets caught in her line of sight and deal a small amount of damage. A double jump that turns her invisible. A passive ability where she goes invisible over a set amount of time and then starts regenning her HP. An ultimate ability that she can place down at a generous distance in front of her that creates a pillar that heals all allies inside of it, blocks line of sight when looking in from the outside, and slows enemies that touch the edge. I'm gonna be honest, writing all of this out makes it pretty obvious she's got too much going on. The skill ceiling for Invisible Woman is higher than the average support, almost on par with Loki's skill ceiling, a little bit behind Adam Warlock's, but the consistent buffs and additions to her kit make the time it takes to understand her a couple hours tops. Marvel Rivals is an easy game, truthfully, but this is a majority of players' first time playing a hero shooter. The learning curve is extremely generous, and that's usually a good thing. But in this game, all it's done is make a strong with practice, time, and game knowledge character into a just strong character. That type of character combined with a brand new support like Gambit, who is already incredibly versatile, makes the task of dealing with triple support require way more effort than the player base is used to putting out. TLDR for those who can't pay attention longer than a minute, you don't have to nerf all supports, just remove one of the 20 new things Invis has gotten over the seasons, tone down Gambit's self-healing, and add a penalty that goes into effect when multiple of one class is being selected. And I'm just thinking something similarly to how Rogue reduces healing output, damage output, and tank HP when she's ulting near people. Something like that just expands the more of one class you have. It doesn't have to be a super harsh penalty, but it has to be enough to make people think. Because as it stands, nobody's really thinking. You know what you should be doing when you start losing, lock in triple support. When triple support happens, lock in triple tank. If that's not happening, you default to triple DPS. You see what the problem is? And yeah, it all kind of just boils down to a team composition problem. Not a lot of team composition theory crafting is actually happening in this game, and role queue isn't going to fix that. It's just going to solidify the fact that nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. Like, I'll be honest with you, it didn't make Overwatch's player base do much better, and it just limited the player variety. No creative team comps, no like genuine gimmicks, no quick thinking. It's like you just had the same uniform teams every time, and it was boring.